The story begins by telling us about the fantasy world of Hades. It happens to be in the invincible land of the Demon King's castle, and it is the home to 3 demon princesses, all of whom are powerful enough to threaten the world. Even more threatening than the princesses is the butler, who is known to be the strongest of Hades. It turns out that he will turn out to be the trump card for the world. It is his duty to find out the deepest and darkest secrets of the demon princesses, and it is his mission to become the most unrivaled butler in another world. Now, we see a carriage which is in the Demon King's territory. Inside this carriage is our hero Isekai'd, also known as Ryu, who is being taken to meet his end. The knight carrying him takes him to a spot where his life will be taken, but it doesn't look like Ryu wants to be a part of this. He puts his hand on a locket that he is wearing, after which he tells us that he is living out a nightmare. It all began 1 week ago when he was brought to the fantasy world of Hades by a cute wizard girl. She welcomes Ryu as a hero, and we learn that the various heroes of this land are all blessed with supernatural powers. Ryu is not the only boy who has been summoned here, as we can see his classmates with him as well. He tries to make sense of the situation because he was just minding his own business in class not too long ago. That's when he recalls a massive earthquake that was about to cause a lot of destruction when he passed out. The wizard girl reveals that it was due to this earthquake that all of the students are here. This implies that they may not have been summoned, but could have rather been reincarnated in another world. Now, they are in this glorious empire which is known as Lux, and they are needed to lend their strength in order to fight all the monsters that have been appearing here recently. All of this is part of a bid to defeat the Demon King, but none of the students have settled into their new reality yet. They are still trying to figure out how they got here in the first place, and some of them are not able to grasp the fact that they are not alive in their original world anymore. Our hero Sakiko has a lot of thoughts going on in his mind, and he is glad to have been brought to another world. He finally realizes that he is not in a dream anymore, and he is actually needed to defeat the Demon King, just like in all the games he used to play back in his original world. Ryu reveals to us that he had a loser life in his previous world, but he is a hero here, so it could mean a change of fortunes. He can change his perception in this new world. But just as he plans out his new life, another student asks a question. He is the popular boy of his class, and his name is Isekai'd. He asks the wizard girl if she can return him and his friends back to their original world, as he does not have a clear idea of what is going on over here. She says that she can most definitely return them to their real world, but the only thing waiting for them over there is death. This means that the entire group was summoned to this world right before they succumbed to the earthquake. Isekai'd now understands the gravity of the situation, and he holds on to the wizard girl to thank her for his rescue. He gives her a smile and promises to lend her his strength, which somewhat awakens her intrusive thoughts. Since Isekai'd has given his word, even the other students agree to lend their strength as well. It's a happy conclusion overall, but our hero does not seem to like what's going on. This is because he is not the main character of this story if Isekai'd is the popular boy. Anyway, the wizard girl needs to confirm the statuses of the heroes that have been summoned here, so she asks them to raise their hands. They do as she says, and then we get a glimpse of what everyone is capable of. Starting off with Isekai'd, he has been given the ability of Saint Brave. A boy named Akagaki Shoji has the Guardian ability. A girl named Shoguji Minase has the title of Master. And another girl named Kino Moto Matsuki has been given the title of Creator. The wizard girl is extremely impressed by this, as is the old wizard with her. After all, each of these heroes have unbelievable skills that can help this kingdom overcome the Demon Lord. Isekai'd is told that the Saint Brave ability was also possessed by the hero who built the Lux Empire, so he has a great skill to flex. However, we do not know what has happened with Sakaki, who is hoping that his status will change this situation for him. However, when he checks out his stat bar, he sees that he has been given the title of Hanged Man. He does not have any proficiency. His life will be marked by hardships. His path will be filled with tribulations. His aspirations will be painfully broken. But even so, he has to keep fighting for the light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, Ryu only looks at these lines as some kind of odd poem, and his panicked state leads the old wizard to ask him what's wrong. Our hero shows him the stat bar and asks him what it all means. It does not look good for him, as the wizard is also shocked to see what is in front of him. He then calls out to the cute wizard girl to have a look, and we learn that her name is Iris. She comes along to see what the fuss is all about, but that's when she realizes that our hero has a blank status. Ryu asks her what this means, so she replies that even though it is unfortunate, the truth is that he is not a hero. This naturally shocks Ryu, so he holds on to the wizard girl and asks her what's the meaning of this. He wants to know what will happen to him if he is not a hero, but he gets a bit too restless, so he is asked to calm down. It's Izayama who brings him back to his senses, but it's a bit too late as we can see all the other students looking at him with doubtful eyes. They start to gossip about him and say all kinds of mean things, such as calling him a weirdo for attacking Iris, even though he is the one who does not have any powers of his own. At the end of the day, it's the same old story for our hero, because the kids of his class would judge him the exact same way back in Japan as well. The gossip becomes a bit too much for him to take in, but he's used to it anyway. After all, none of the students really expect anything from him after an incident that had happened back in their original world. Ryu knows that no matter what he says, he will not be able to sway the public opinion on him due to this very incident. He is being laughed at by everyone again, so nothing has really changed even after being summoned to a fantasy world. Now, Iris apologizes to him for all the confusion, and she says that she will explain the whole situation to him soon. Our hero says sorry to her as well, because he did act out of line. Now, the wizard girl says that all the chosen ones will receive training for a full 1 year, in order for them to get ready to defeat the Demon King. However, they are all given 1 week off, so that they can get used to the ways of this new world. This is good news for the students, and they are looking forward to explore everything in the Lux Empire. There will be a welcome party for them as well, so the kids are excited, and they start making plans for this week. One of the students says that he could really use his smartphone right now, but Ryu has other problems to deal with. He thought he could live a much better life in this world, but as it turns out, he does not belong here either. Now, Iris comes to him and says sorry for making him so anxious. He says it's all right, and then the wizard girl says that she would like to ask a favor of him. It seems like a simple enough request, but Iris suddenly turns to demon mode and tells our hero that she will need his cooperation for the sake of her empire. This creeps him out for sure, but then he realizes that he can be useful to Iris if he listens to what she says. She tells him that he will find value if he obeys her commands, so he decides to grant her the favor. After all, it's much better than being with a group of classmates that have bullied him all the time. Before things can move further, Kinomoto calls out to Ryu and asks him if he is going to the party later. He says that he will skip it because he knows he will not fit in over there. He then tells her that she is amazing because she has been given the skill of creator. She does not look happy and even apologizes to our hero, so he asks her why she is saying this to him. Kinomoto reveals that she was not able to cover for him earlier, and this is why she is feeling bad about herself. Ryu looks at Kinomoto as if she is some kind of angel, and then she gives him the locket we had seen earlier. He asks her what it is, and she explains that she has put her magic into the locket. It will get activated if he breaks it, and will be useful in an emergency. Ryu is amazed that Kinomoto already knows how to use her skills, and he tells her that he will treasure the locket for sure. Kinomoto asks him what he will do now, and he explains that Iris does seem to have a job for him. Since his life was saved by the wizard girl, he does feel the need to pay back the favor, and then Kinomoto asks if there is anything she can do to help him out. He tells her not to worry about him because she will also have her training to worry about. she agrees, but also has a bad feeling about what Iris might do to him. It turns out that she is not the only one who feels this way, as Ryu is also a bit skeptical of what might be asked from him. Either way, he knows he has been given a second chance at life, so he should make the most of it and see what happens. Kinomoto is amazed by his positive attitude, and then we see Ryu in the carriage from before. It turns out that Iris had tricked him into getting onto the carriage in order to abandon him in the Demon King's territory. The knight kicks our hero off the carriage and tells him that his job will be to lose his life in this area. Basically, the plan is for the Demon King to look at Ryu's corpse and think of him as the hero who was supposed to end him. This will give the Demon King a false sense of security and will thus serve as a distraction. Of course, our hero is not on board with this kind of plan, as he is simply being treated as some kind of expendable trash. He asks the knight how the Demon King would know he is a hero, but he only gets smacked in the face for arguing with him. With that, the knight abandons Ryu and leaves him to rot in the land of the Demon Lord. Our hero is clearly sad because all he wanted to do was be of use to the others. He thinks back to his classmates and Iris, and only believes that they were never on his side. He laments the fact that he might lose his life here, which means that he has made no difference in his original world as well as his new one. He is not needed by anyone, and there is nothing that he can achieve. Having said that, he promises to struggle for survival right till the very end. This is how things should be anyway, especially if we consider what his stat bar had told him. With that, his ultimate trial begins, and we can see his eyes lighting up. There is some kind of sound that is ringing in his head, and Ryu is willing to bet his whole life on how this thing turns out. The slogan of his trial commencing continues to ring in his head, and he has had enough of these sounds, so he tries to end it. Now, he checks out his status again and learns that he is in a trial because of his presence in an unknown territory. Due to this, all his skill limitations have been released. Although his stats are not even at rank F, he currently has the skills of wisdom, intuition, and discernment, all of which are mental skills rather than physical. Ryu can see that the stat bar looks a whole lot different from what it was back at the royal castle. Plus, even though he is currently in a crisis, he is extremely calm, which could be an effect of his discernment skill. He looks at some of the terms on the stats bar, such as tarot card, reverse, and hanged man. Before he can think of anything else, his skill of intuition comes into play, and he immediately looks behind. That is when we see a deadly monster approaching him. It definitely looks like an ugly beast as it licks its lips upon seeing fresh meat. The stat bar tells our hero that he is up against an encountered gore monk, and his trial will commence soon. From the looks of it, he will need to survive this monster for at least 30 seconds if he is to win the trial, and all the hints keep telling him to escape from this zone. Of course, this is not as easy as it sounds, especially for Ryu, who does not really have any fighting skills. That's when the stat bar tells him the reward for winning the trial is increased physical ability as well as strength of existence. These words make him alert, and then he springs into action against the gore monk monster. The beast continues to attack him, but Ryu is able to use his mental skills to predict its moves and dodge it. He does well enough for 15 seconds, and the system tells him he's halfway there. However, he falls to the ground and is unable to escape from the beast now. The alerts on his system are of no use as our hero can't move quickly enough to avoid getting struck. He has no other option now but to use the locket that Kinomoto gave him as a gift. He knows that he had promised to treasure it, but desperate times call for desperate measures. He throws the locket at the gore monk monster, and it breaks from the impact, which causes a massive burst of energy to release. Ryu is blinded by the lights coming from this attack, and then he can see that the beast has been frozen. He realizes that Kinomoto had kept ice magic inside the locket, and then the system tells him that 30 seconds have passed. This means that his strength and physical abilities will be increased, but that's not the end of it. Now, he is being given a new trial, which is to defeat the Gore Monk monster. Our hero is not too pleased to learn that he has already been given a new challenge, and that too, an extremely difficult one. He then sees that his growth rate will also be increased for this particular challenge, so he decides to give it a shot. After all, since the beast is frozen, it can't attack him right now. The best option would be to destroy it while he still has the chance. So Ryu puts in all his strength and launches a finisher punch on it. As expected, his increased strength is good enough to shatter the ice as well as the monster. It is actually a lot easier than he had expected it to be. And then the system tells him that his strength and physical abilities will be further increased. Even if that is the case, he does not feel anything new. On top of that, he can see that his overall rank has increased from G- to F. This is good enough for our hero, so he decides to focus on his next mission, which is to look for some food. Of course, it's not as easy as he would like to be, because he ends up fighting tons of monsters on the way. He comes across giant snakes and even demon bats, all of whom are tough to beat. Even so, Ryu manages to get the job done and moves further ahead. Unfortunately, his will to fight can only take him to a certain point, and he collapses from hunger soon after. He does not know how many days he has gone without eating any food, and at this rate, things are not looking good for him at all. He has to eat something anyhow, and that's when the system wakes up yet again. It seems to want to reverse the signs of excessive eating, but is unable to do so because of no strength. He tells the system to shut up, and then wonders what he's doing with this new life. He does not know what lies beyond his current state, and then he asks himself why he is holding on to such a life, while also holding in so much pain. When he was a kid, he believed he could become a legendary hero who could change the world. However, an incident happened which he witnessed, and it led him to run away from his surroundings. Despite that, he could not get anything done in Japan, just like how he can't get anything done in this world as well. In the end, he tried so hard and got so far, but it doesn't really matter anymore. As he accepts the end of his life, Ryu hears someone coming up from behind and voices start to whisper to each other. Our hero thinks he is seeing a human shadow, but it is running away from something, and he is unable to figure out what it is. He does not know what he should do, but this is not the time to hold back or hesitate. So Ryu decides to chase after the shadow to help out. Now, we see that the human who was running away is actually a demon princess who is trying to escape a Gore Monk monster. She orders it not to come near her when she gets cornered, but it does not seem to be of any use. She reminds the monster what it is and says that it has no right to attack a demon princess like her. Of course, her words fall on deaf ears as the beast proceeds to approach her with harmful intent. The demon girl laments that she can't use any magic to defend herself, and this has led to an unfortunate situation. She asks for help and even calls out to her family members, although we don't know where they might be. The demon princess is clearly in a tough spot, so Ryu decides he is going to help her, even if it means using up whatever is left of him. The system warns him not to do anything, because he will lose his life if he tries to save the demon princess. However, he simply tells it to shut up despite all the repeated warnings being given to him. He does not listen to his intuition and tells us that even though he has not been useful to anyone in this world, it will not stop him from saving a girl in distress. Until the very end, he is going to make sure that he will help out someone for sure, and he does not mind losing his life as a result of it. This is when the system tells him that his philosophy is exactly the type that should exist in a hanged man character. Now, Ryu shows up in front of the demon princess and keeps her protected from the Gore Monk monster. She is confused to see such a weak and tired boy showing such bravery. And then Ryu puts in all his power to punch the monster. It's a strong enough attack, and it leads the beats to fall off the cliff, thus saving the life of the demon princess. However, it looks like our hero is also falling off the cliff due to the momentum of his punch. As he falls to his end, he recalls how he has given his life away, and it is exactly like how the knight from the Empire had told him. However, he knows that he has saved someone's life in the process, and that should be good enough for him. At the end of it all, he is glad that a seemingly useless life has served some purpose. Suddenly, he can hear the demon princess talking to him, as she asks him not to be so absent-minded. Her name is revealed to be Ruru Noah, and she says that he has saved her life, so she will not allow him to be ended just like that. She is preparing something for him to eat, but he thinks that he is still dreaming. Now, Ruru puts a magical item inside Ryu's mouth, and she says that he will get better from it. She also reveals that Ryu was out cold for a whole day, so he should not exert himself at all. He says okay, but Ruru says that he should not be so disrespectful to the daughter of the Demon King. He should be saying things in a way as if she is her ruler, but this confuses him. The demon princess smiles at our hero, and she looks very cute, but Ryu can't afford to let his intrusive thoughts take over. He gets up and is in shock over realizing that he has just saved the life of the Demon King's daughter. It's quite funny because he was abandoned due to the fact that he would be useless in the subjugation of the Demon King, and yet, here he is being fed by his own daughter. Now, Ryu's system gets activated again and says something odd. He has been fed some magic power by an arcana holder, which means that the abilities and skills of both parties will be increased. The system also tells Ryu that it had expected him to pull off something so heroic. The demon princess is a bit confused to see Ryu seemingly talking to himself, and that's when our hero realizes that Ruru can't hear what the system is telling him. Strangely enough, the system answers his thoughts and tells him that nobody else can hear their conversation. Naturally, Ryu asks the system why it has suddenly started to talk to him as if they are pals. So it says that the Hanged Man has proven himself to be an interesting character. The system also seems to call out our hero for putting his life on the line for someone else. This is because it believes that the only reason Ryu is doing it is to satisfy his own need of approval. Our hero does not like such words, so he tells it to shut up. Of course, he does not realize that he is basically making a fool of himself in front of the demon princess. He tries to brush aside the topic and asks Ruru for a proper introduction. She gives it to him by stating that she is the one and only daughter of the Demon King Rurukia. She hilariously asks Ryu to praise her for simply giving an introduction. But he wants to know why the daughter of the Demon King is here in the dangerous woods. Ruru does not like that he was not paying attention to what she just said. And then she goes on to explain how it was her birthday yesterday, which meant that she had received a lot of gifts. She did not realize that among these gifts was hidden a magic sealing spell, as well as a teleportation device. As can be guessed from the name, the magic sealing spell was like a curse which prevented Ruru from using any of her magic, which is rather cruel. It also explains why she was not able to defend herself from the Gore Monk monster. Ryu plays along, but in his head, he's wondering how silly Ruru has to be to get a curse placed on herself. Now, the demon princess wants to know why a human is here in this dangerous territory. To her, such areas are usually a walk in the park. But Ryu calls her out because crying for help against a monster is a pretty rough situation. Ruru comes close to him and tells him to shut up, but he feels she is a touch too close for comfort. He reveals his name, and that's when he wonders if she's aware of him being summoned to this world in order to defeat the Demon King. Normally, the two of them would have been sworn enemies, but in this case, she thanks our hero for saving her life. This means she has no idea about his true identity, so he decides to be honest and upfront. He tells her that she may not believe him, but he is actually a fake hero who has been summoned her from another world. Contrary to how he would have expected her to react, the demon princess is actually thrilled to see Ryu, as she has never really met anyone from another world. Now, our hero asks her if she is a demon, because he feels that she would be repulsed and disgusted by the mere sight of a hero. Instead, Ruru says that heroes are supposed to be the strong ones amongst the humans, so it fits within his category. She also seems to find him cool. But Ryu knows that he is not really worthy of such a phrase. He goes on to tell her that all of his other classmates became heroes, but he was not chosen to be one due to his low stats. This led to him being abandoned here, and he does not have any place to return to anymore. As the both of them sit down to have a chat, Ryu thinks about how hard it has been for him to try and settle into this world. He was not able to achieve anything until he saved Ruru. And this holds true even for when he was back in Japan. He has been searching for something all his life. And it does not have to do with him being a main character or a hero. He just wants to find something he can do regularly, and also for a place where he feels like he can belong. However, such things do not exist for him, which is why he is roaming around like a headless chicken. Since he has no reason or place to live, he only rescued Ruru for his own satisfaction. Of course, the demon princess does not care about his intentions at all, because at the end of the day, he managed to save her life, and that's what matters the most. She reveals that she gets targeted a lot of times because of who her father is. But our hero did not even hesitate to save her life despite not even knowing who she was. This gesture has made her incredibly happy, and she wants to reward Ryu for what he has done. Since he wants a reason and a place to live, she is ready to give both to him. She states that the reason he is still alive right now is to come to this world and save her life. This is when she suggests that he become a butler in the Demon King's castle. If he does this, he can live to protect Ruru, and will also have a place to stay. Ryu can't believe that Ruru was able to decide all of this so easily and all by herself. But he is still happy because he is wanted by her. It does not matter if she is a selfish demon princess, because our hero has finally got a reason to live. He knows that if he takes her hand, there is no going back, and he is ready to make that choice. Ruru gives him an order, and it is to live for her. So he takes her hand and begins a rather strange relationship with the demon princess. Now, the couple walks through the forest, while Ruru sings about how she is going to become the next demon king. Ryu is only interested in knowing if they are going the right way because he feels like they are lost. Ruru tells him such a thing can never be a problem, and they will be at the Demon King's castle soon enough. At this very moment, a giant cobra snake shows up out of nowhere, and it causes Ruru to panic. She does not know what to do, but Ryu does, and he smacks down the monster with a smack to the face. He asks the demon princess if she is all right, and she nervously states that she has wisely chosen her butler. Ryu becomes a bit humble and tells her that she is the one who has made this possible. Now that it has been 2 days since he has been escorting Ruru, Ryu has got a better understanding of his own powers. He explains his own leveling skills to us by talking about monsters fighting him. Basically, if he comes across a monster that is stronger than him, or from an unknown territory, then he begins a trial against them. Depending on the gap in skills between them, he will level up as per survival as well as subjugation skills. Ryu has been gaining a lot of strength due to defeating countless monsters, and he is not even feeling hungry or thirsty anymore despite surviving a few days without any food or drink. This could be a benefit of leveling up, but he will not gain any levels from defeating the snake monster, as he has already beaten it before. He then goes on to check his stats, all of which have grown by a lot, especially after consuming Ruru's powers. He is now at rank C, which is quite good for a boy who has just been summoned to this world. There is also the reverse skill on his stat bar, but he does not know what it means and how he can use it. After all, it had failed when he tried to reverse the gluttony effect because of no sustenance at the time. Suddenly, the system voice comes back and tells our hero that he is in a much better state now. This means that he can activate his reverse skill if he would like to do so. However, Ryu makes fun of it by saying it is way too eager to talk about his reverse skill. The system gets offended and tells our hero that it has only stayed silent because of the romance that was brewing between him and Ruru. Ryu gets a bit embarrassed, and he tells the system to stop making fun of him, because it was the first time he ever saw kindness in this world. The system call him out for being heartless because he seems to have already forgotten about the girl who gave him the locket before he left for the woods. Of course, it is referring to Kinomoto, but Ryu does not seem to recall what she had done for him. The system asks him why he is being so silent, and then reminds him of how he ended up beating the Gore Monk monster the first time. Ryu can't seem to remember it instantly, but then he realizes that he was able to freeze the beast before punching it to pieces. However, he can't recall all of it, probably because he is too tired of the walking around. Suddenly, Ruru calls out to him and says that she can see some black and purple smoke. This is the smoke signal of the Demon Knights, which means that they could be nearby. Having said that, the Demon Princess instantly jumps on top of Ryu's back and asks him to run towards the smoke, although he is a bit confused. She says that if they run fast, then they can meet someone named Zira, who is supposed to be with the Knights. Ryu asks her who Zira is, and she says that she's a friend. With that, our hero activates his inner athlete and charges towards the target with a jolt of speed. Ruru is amazed by his speed, but he tells her to hold on to him properly if she wants to remain on his back by the time they reach their destination. Ryu is aware that the Demon Princess wants him to meet her knights, but he is not sure if they will accept him as a human. As a matter of fact, he even worries that they might want to take his life the moment he hands Ruru over to them. The Demon Princess tells him that once they get to the Demon King's castle, she will introduce him to her father, Zira, and someone else named Nell. She asks him to just be confident and hold his head up high while she handles the rest. This puts Ryu's mind at ease because he does not need to worry when he has Ruru to calm him down. However, at this very moment, the couple gets attacked by a mysterious beast. Ryu is able to dodge the attack, but then he sees that he is up against a giant wolf monster. Ruru panics instantly and identifies it as a dirty blood wolf, which is not usually found in such an area. She wants to run away from the monster, but it's a bit too late for them now because the dirty blood wolf is way too close to them. Ryu points out correctly that they will be ended if they look away, so the only option now is to take the beast head-on. Since this is an extremely powerful beast, the system wakes up and tells our hero that his trial will begin soon. The trial reveals that the breed is actually a death-mound great wolf, and the target is to defeat it. There's also a certain catch to this trial, which is that it will be judged based on the use of the reverse skill. This means that the reward will depend on how Ryu is able to use the skill on the wolf. Our hero tells Ruru to get off his back and find a place to hide because things can get ugly here. Of course, he himself has no idea how he is going to counter this opponent, and that too with the reverse skill. The system becomes sentient once more and tells Ryu that his body is at the perfect level to awaken this secret weapon. The only thing he needs to make it work is strong emotion, but he has no clue what that is supposed to mean. The system tells him it's the same tool he needed to reverse gluttony, but he did not have energy to do anything back then. This time is different, so he has to challenge it one more time. Of course, saying it so suddenly will not make a difference to Ryu, but he has to act fast in front of the monster. The wolf slashes him with a paw attack, and Ryu has no idea how it happens so quickly. The beast is too fast for even his intuition to work, and then he sees Ruru trying to cheer him on. Of course, she should be focusing on running away because things are not looking too good for our hero. Ruru does not listen to him, and she tries to shoot at the death-mound giant wolf. This obviously does not work on the beast, and only angers him further towards the Demon Princess. Ryu worries that the wolf will attack Ruru, so he demands him not to lay a hand on her. This awakens his emotion, so the system tells him that he can choose his reversal based on the original sin of humanity. Ryu does not care about any of these philosophies, and he says that he only wishes to protect his mistress. He is fine with whatever power comes his way, so he demands the system to give him this strength. Ryu is extremely passionate about this, so his reverse skill is activated with greed as the emotion. The reversal process begins with a flash, tempting both Ruru as well as the wolf monster to see what exactly is going on. What follows is a lengthy explanation from the system, which highlights the nature of the avatar that our hero is about to take on. He turns into a plunderer who spares no one due to his desire for more and more. He is the man who has lost to his desires, and he is called the Mask of Greedy Black Death, also known as Mavalicia. Ryu has a crow mask on him now, and he looks more epic than he has ever been across both his lives. He floats in the sky and looks at the giant wolf with scorn in his eyes. The beast gets triggered by his sight, so he decides to attack him with full force. Taking him down is a piece of cake for our hero, so he uses his move genius and traps the monster in giant chains. With that, he smacks the wolf beast to the ground and claims victory with just one move. Since his reversal skill has been awakened, the trial is now complete, and he gets his multiple rewards. His strength and physical abilities grow yet again, and on top of that, he has also been granted an eternal dominion over the death-mound Great Wolf. The danger is over now, but there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. Ruru asks Ryu if he is still the same man she chose to be her butler, because the outfit he is wearing is rather odd. She wants an explanation, and our hero would love to give one, but he himself seems to be lost for words. Anyway, he has to do something about the wolf monster, which has been tied up by the chains, but is still looking quite angry. He takes a look at his stats and can see that he is at a much higher level due to his reversed condition. He has tons of new skills to boast, including that of making anyone his slave, but he only has 5 minutes remaining on his reversal timer. Ryu is upset to see this because he will not be able to check out the rest of his abilities. But then Ruru calls him strange for speaking to himself. Ryu knows that genius was not the move he needed to use to calm down the wolf monster. So he takes a closer look at it and can sense some kind of other magic that has been cast on it. He can also sense pain coming from the beast, so he uses his goblin move to free him from his chains. This move is used to absorb the berserker curse that has been placed on the great wolf too. Now that he has freed the wolf, it will now obey him as his master for life. At the same time, both Ryu and the wolf gain some stats due to the achievement of Dominion. Our hero celebrates his achievement, but he laments that his head is hurting from all the information he has had to process. Ruru asks him if all is well, and he says yes, but he also needs to finish this up, while he still has the strength to do so. Now, the system asks Ryu if he would like to exercise dominion over the Great Wolf, but he is a bit hesitant to do so. The system tells him that it's really impressive for him to have achieved such a thing, so he should just go ahead and make the beast his pet. This makes him consider the proposal for a bit, but at the end of the day, he decides to reject the proposal, much to the dismay of the wolf. He even gives our hero the puppy eyes, but he tells him that his hands are full right now, since he is so occupied. He really can't afford to bring in a pet for himself. If the wolf could shrink his size, then he would have gladly accepted him, but he doubts if the beast can do that. Even so, the system tells him not to give the wolf any ideas, and it will not be held responsible for anything that may happen as a result of this. Ryu has other things to worry about, and then Ruru rushes to him for a nice hug. She thanks him for all that he's done so far, because he has been an amazing butler to her. Since he is indispensable to her, she will make sure that he will be acknowledged and accepted by the rest of her family. From the looks of it, things are going to get very exciting for Ryu. Now, we shift to the Demon King's castle, where we see our hero comfortably placed inside a nice bed. He wakes up, but does not seem to recognize where he has been brought. That's when he hears a voice from a cute maid girl telling him that he's been asleep for a while. She happens to be Fina, who is the head maid of the Demon King's castle. She reveals that Ryu has been knocked out for a total of 2 full weeks, and he had tons of injuries to tend to. Fina took all the necessary measures to treat those wounds, and now he is perfectly fine. Our hero can't believe that he is finally inside the Demon King's castle, and he thanks Fina for her service. The maid girl apologizes for being hasty, as she asks him to change his clothes as soon as possible. After all, the Demon King is waiting to see him, so he should not waste any more time. Ryu dresses up and looks fine as a gentleman, but he wonders what will happen when he meets the Demon King. He is supposed to be the biggest enemy of this world, and he is not sure if he will even survive the first meeting with Ruru's dad. He knocks on the door and is allowed to come in, after which we finally see the Demon King of this world. He is shown to be a cool man, and he tells Ryu not to be so stiff around him. He tells him to take a seat, and then even jokes that he will not eat him or anything like that. He reveals his full name to be Alto Eder Rurukia, but calling him Alto will also work. Ryu is visibly nervous, but he never imagined the Demon King to be such a chilled-out character. Now, Alto tells our hero that he heard everything from his daughter. He even bows down to Ryu and thanks him for saving Ruru's life. He laments that he was not able to do it himself despite being the Demon King of his land, and he finds it quite pitiful. Of course, Ryu is feeling a bit embarrassed that Alto is bowing down to him, so he asks him to raise his head. Alto tells Ryu that he will reward him properly the next time they meet. But for now, he wishes to discuss something important with him. First of all, he wants to confirm that the people of the Lux Empire were not able to see his skills and stats. After he gets the confirmation, he reveals that normal people and even demons might not be able to see what our hero can see in his own status. As a matter of fact, Alto himself can't detect anything despite his immense powers, so he wants to know exactly what kind of skills Ryu possesses. Ryu tells him that it's called the Hanged Man, and that's when it all starts to make sense to Alto. The Demon Lord declares that our hero is actually an Arcana user, and he asks him who first saw his status. He says that it was the old man who was with Iris, and Alto reveals it's exactly how he had guessed it. This is when we learn it's not that Ryu's status can't be seen, but rather that it's been hidden by the old man. Our hero does not follow, so the Demon Lord explains it's a high-level concealment skill, which only the old man could do since he is a hermit. Ryu asks Alto to tell him more about the Arcana skill, so he corrects him by saying an Arcana is actually a type of magic card that is connected to its user. The existence of such people is some kind of mystery, and all of these people have insane abilities. As of now, there are only 21 people who are Arcana users, and a few of them happen to be in Alto's territory as well. Also, the hermit who hid Ryu's powers is also an Arcana user who is specialized in the skill of hiding. It doesn't matter if it's him or anyone else. The hermit can hide form, status, and even memories. Of course, Ryu wants to know why the old man hid his status, and the Demon King explains that it could be because he did not want the Empire to exploit our hero's Arcana abilities. This is odd because it would put the Lux Empire at a disadvantage. But then Alto remembers that Ryu is not a human from the Empire, and his origin is unknown. He then asks Ryu if he was told that he's a hero who has been summoned by the Empire. He also asks if our hero has been told that demons are evil and need to be exterminated from this world. This comes as a bit of a shock to Ryu because Alto has said every single thing accurately. This is when it is revealed that the humans have actually tricked Ryu into believing lies about the Demon Empire. It turns out that the other races are completely fine with the demons, and it's only the humans who seem to have a problem with them. The monsters we have seen so far are simply third parties who are not at all related to Alto or his people. Now that he thinks about it, Ryu realizes that if the monsters were really siding with the demons, then there would have been no way the Gore Monk or the Great Wolf would have attacked Ruru. The Demon King is glad to see that our hero is using his brains now. He then explains that this is a running scam where Iris summons humans from other worlds and tricks them into fighting against the demons. This is why the humans are made to isolate inside the castle, so that they do not engage with any other races. This explains a lot about Iris and her intentions, but Ryu wants to know why the Lux Empire is after the demon territory. Alto explains that it's because the Lux Empire is the closest to the land of the demons. They want to take over this area because of all the magical powers and resources available over here. This is a horrible way to go about things, and it makes Ryu angry about his classmates being used as pawns. Alto tells our hero that if he were to reveal his true powers to the humans right now, then they would easily take him back without asking any questions at all. The Demon King knows that Ruru wants to make him her butler, but he is ready to respect whatever decision Ryu would like to make. Our hero wastes no time in saying that the Empire can go shove it where the sun doesn't shine. He is extremely upset with the way he was treated by them, and even Alto happily laughs at this decision. He also admits that his daughter was begging him to make Ryu her butler, and now he knows why. Our hero thanks Alto for accepting him so easily, but he wonders if the other people of the castle are ready to welcome him with the same energy. The Demon Lord says that there is no need to worry about such things because Ruru has made sure to make everyone accept Ryu into the castle. She may have been a bit forceful about it, but this is only because Alto has spoiled her as a child. Ryu is a bit puzzled by this, but Alto tells him that he will soon learn why Ruru is essentially a spoiled brat. Later, Ryu is taken to an arena where we see a lot of people gossiping with each other. As our hero tries to figure what is going on over here, Ruru sees him and happily rushes towards her new butler. She asks if he is feeling fine now and also confesses that she missed him a lot. As a matter of fact, she was ready to stay by his side the whole time and would even think about him while at work. Our hero tells her that he is completely fine now, but their romance is interrupted when a couple of other girls come to the scene and ask Ruru to leave some of Ryu for them as well. These girls are shown to be cute themselves, and then Ruru introduces them to her new butler. The one in white is Nell Ermel, who is a magician as well as Ruru's cousin. She is a bit flirty and playful, but the same can't be said about the girl in black, who is Zira. She is the knight captain, but is a bit skeptical of Ryu, despite all the heroic acts he has done so far. Zira shows her emotions almost instantly when she says she does not believe Ryu to be worthy of being Ruru's butler. She thinks his body is too weak, and she also refuses to accept that a human can become the demon princess's butler. She gets a bit out of hand with the way she speaks, so Ruru tells Zira to calm down. She reminds her that Ryu was the one who saved her life. But even then, Zira can't accept the fact that a human is working inside the castle. Now, Ruru says that there is a reason for her setting up this arena because she is going to test whether our hero is strong enough to become her butler. Suddenly, a demon knight shows up, and Ryu is told to prove his power in front of all the audience members. Zira says that Ryu will have to face off against an elite knight from her squad, and she will accept him if he manages to beat this knight by fair means. Our hero gets the message and prepares to fight his opponent as per Ruru's instructions. The opponent does not appreciate the fact that Ryu is not using any weapons, but he says that his hands are his preferred choice. It's time to begin the battle, and the Demon Knight starts off with a finisher move. But Ryu is up to the task, and he just stands there as the strike is directed right next to him. The girls watch from the sidelines and comment on how unfair it is for Ryu to deal with an intimidating weapon. Zira is not impressed that our hero did not move as per the attack, and the Demon Knight also says the same thing. Of course, Ryu mocks him by asking if there was any need to avoid such a useless attack, and this angers the Demon Knight a lot. He tries a serious strike this time, but Ryu is too quick, and he manages to come up from behind. The moment he does this, he lands a kick to the Demon Knight's head and manages to defeat him with ease. The crowd is in shock, especially Zira, who can't believe the physical abilities that Ryu possesses. Anyway, she is forced to accept our hero, and Ruru rejoices as Ryu is announced as the victor. How is our hero going to live his life as the demon princess's butler? And what kinds of evil plans is Iris plotting at the Lux Empire with the rest of Ryu's classmates? Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more of this story. I'll upload part 2 if you show me enough love here. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.